Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at Salty Ginger Talk. If you're a returning listener, it's great to have you back. If you're new to the channel, we're really glad you joined us and hope you like what you hear. So our podcast is for people that want to learn something new or make themselves a little bit better every day. And in today's episode, we are going to work on ways to stop obsessing over small, insignificant stuff. All right? So that's the goal. This quietly drains you of time, energy, and happiness. Like obsessing over small details is so useless, but we all do it. And you know what I'm talking about. You make a typo in a text message that you keep thinking about. You try to figure out the exact right way to phrase something in an email for hours. You'll spend 30, 45 minutes an hour curating the perfect Instagram caption, like it's life or death, and it's captioned on Instagram. We all do it. But the truth is, when you obsess over little things, you lose sight of what it really matters. So there's a great quote by Richard Carlson that puts it perfectly. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. That mindset doesn't just help you feel calmer, it frees up your mind to focus on the things that actually move your life forward. Relationships, a sense of purpose, fixing your health or improving your health, and making progress on making yourself the person you want to become. That's where we want to spend our time and effort. So in this episode, we're going to dive into 5 strategies you can use to stop obsessing over the small things. We're going to give you real life examples of people who have made that shift, and we're going to give you simple, practical steps that you can apply to your own life, so that you can focus on the things that matter, focus on the things that are important, and stop thinking about and obsessing about the small, insignificant things that just don't matter. So the example we use to kind of really drive home this point is Queen Elizabeth. So Queen Elizabeth was a monarch for over 60 years. She was the Queen of England, and she lived to be almost 100. She lived one of the most significant existences in the history of the world. And I bet you can't tell me 3 things she did without looking it up or Googling it. I bet you can't tell me 3 things she did during her life, which was monumental. She's been gone for less than 2 years? Can't remember when she actually passed. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to prove a point. If nobody remembers what the Queen of England did in her 60 plus years during her reign over the kingdom, do you think anyone's going to care in 10 years, 20 years, 100 years about whatever you put in that email or whatever you put on that Instagram post? Let me break the tension for you. They're not going to give a shit. Nobody's going to care. Nobody cares now. And you've got to develop that mindset. So that's what today's episode is about. How do we get to the point where we can learn from, but move on from the little things that bother us and focus on the things that are really going to make our life meaningful and move us forward. So that's the episode. Okay, number 1, zoom out. We're going to practice the 10-10-10 rule. You can substitute any number you want in here. It could be the 7-7-7 rule. It could be the 30-30-30 rule. Doesn't matter. But it's a mindset shift. And when we're getting worked up over something small, when we start obsessing over something we know isn't important, or even if we do think it's important, but we can feel ourselves kind of allowing that emotion to take us over, we're going to zoom out and we're going to apply what we call the 10-10-10 rule. Ask yourself, will this matter in 10 days? Will this matter in 10 months? Will it matter in 10 years? Most things we obsess about fail that test, plain and simple. So, real world example. We knew a woman who was planning her wedding, and she became completely and totally consumed with the shade of white on her table linens. She went back and forth between pearl and cream. Swatches, weeks, choices, conversations, Google searches. It caused unnecessary stress. It caused arguments with vendors. And it created tension with her fiance. And guess what? Nobody gave a shit. No one even noticed. Nobody said a word about it after her wedding. She admitted afterwards that, hey, I got a little wrapped around the axle on this one. And it was a complete waste of energy. And I could have used that energy to enjoy the relationships that I was sharing with people during that time, enjoying my engagement, having a better relationship with my fiance during my engagement. I kind of used all my energy focusing on this completely insignificant detail. Once she shifted her focus to the big picture, creating a beautiful day, enjoying the relationships, enjoying the time with the people she cared about, all that stress went away and she realized it just didn't matter at all. So, your action step, when you feel this start welling up inside you, or you start obsessing over something that you know probably doesn't matter, you got to ask yourself, 10 days, 10 months, 10 years, will it matter then? You know the answer is no. If not, you got to let it go. You got to give yourself permission to move on from it because it's just not that important. Okay? All right, tip number 2. We got to get comfortable with imperfection. There's a line in the movie The Breakfast Club where he pops a bolt out of the door to keep it closed so they can screw around in the library and the principal can't hear him. And the principal's all upset and he comes in and says, "How'd that bolt fall out or that screw fall out?" And he says, "Screws fall out all the time, sir. The world's an imperfect place." Now, he's being a smart ass, but he's 100% correct. The world is an imperfect place. And by the way, perfection is not your goal. Progress is your goal because you can't be perfect. It's fine to strive to be perfect. I can tell you that when I pitched, every time I went out to pitch, I was going to throw a no-hitter. That was what I had in my head. And as soon as I gave up a hit, I was trying to throw a one-hitter. So there's nothing wrong with having high goals. There's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars. But you have to readjust your goals as things happen, and you can't just quit and give up because things don't go exactly the way that you want them to. So, obsessing over small imperfections is often rooted in your fear of judgment or fear of failure. And that's just useless. You're worried what other people think about you, and that is a certain way to lose, a certain way to go backwards in life, a certain way to get stuck in the mud. Perfection is a moving target. It's just going to bog you down and keep you stuck. Can you be perfect every once in a while? Sure. Are you going to be perfect all the time? Absolutely not. So you've got to learn to get past that. And we're going to talk about a step or a thought process we can use to help us get past it. So here's an example from the entrepreneurial world. Young entrepreneur develops this fantastic new productivity app. The beta testers love it. He kept delaying the launch because he couldn't decide what font to use for the branding. He redesigned the logo 7 times. He rewrote the website copy every weekend. Eventually, one of his mentors stepped in and said, "Perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect is the enemy of done. Release the product. Go with whatever you have and release it." He finally launches it, and it was a huge hit. Not because he messed with the font, not because he rewrote the website script, but because he developed a great product. It turns out none of his users cared at all about the font. They cared that the app helped them get things done, which is the point of the app. And he wasted time and energy obsessing over stuff that had no impact on the app's success whatsoever. So, what's our action step on this? How do we develop that mindset? You got to adopt the 80-20 mindset. If it's 80% good, it's good enough to move forward. The goal isn't to avoid mistakes. The goal is to make progress and learn. You've got to ask yourself, am I improving or am I just hiding behind perfectionism? If the answer is B, you got to move forward. You got to take the hard swallow and move forward. Now, we will say if you're listening to our podcast and you're a heart surgeon or you're an airline pilot or you're, something else that where perfect matters, got it. Like you don't get the choice to make huge mistakes in those lines of duty. Now, most people are not those things. And the things we stress about and worry about don't have an impact on anything at all. And we get wrapped around the axle on them. So perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect is the enemy of done. We got to learn that once it's good to 80%, it's time to go and see how things work out. All right. So that's our mindset there. Okay. Tip number 3, we got to limit the decision-making loop. Obsessing over small decisions leads to something called decision fatigue. So your willpower, your decision-making power is just like a muscle. It can get tired, and when it breaks down and you're tired, you make poorer decisions, or you won't make a decision, and we've got to avoid that. So it's plain and simple. It's as easy as comparing it to a muscle. One person I worked with would spend 20 minutes every morning debating what to wear. Should she wear the black blazer or the navy one? Should she wear heels or flats? By the time she left the house, she was mentally exhausted. trying to decide what to wear. She hadn't got to work yet. So she made one change and simplified her wardrobe. She created a basic, like a capsule closet where it was just basic core items that she loved. And she pre-planned her outfits the night before. That way, she got 2 to 3 hours of her work week back. And mentally, she was much more clear, much more crisp, and much more refreshed when she went to work. And her anxiety lowered dramatically. So, what's our action step here? How can we accomplish that in the real world? We can batch our decisions together. Meaning, if we make repetitive decisions or we have to make the same decision every day, we can make them all at one time. For example, plan your meal on Sundays. All of them. Plan your breakfast, your lunches, and your dinner on Sunday. That way, you're done making decisions for the week. You know what you're eating Monday for lunch, or Tuesday for dinner, or Thursday for breakfast, because you've already chosen it ahead of time. Pick your workout clothes the night before. Lay them out. No choice. Put them on. Get to the gym. Set recurring weekly routines so that you're not reinventing the wheel every single day and not having to make all these small, insignificant decisions every day. So even then, there's a trick we can use outside of just batching, and we can use a timer. Say, I'm going to give myself 2 minutes to make a decision. If it's a small decision, I got 2 minutes. Wherever I land at the end of 2 minutes, that's the decision. Boom, time to go forward. We're not going to let minor choices dominate major chunks of your time, right? A better way to say it, we're not going to major in minor things. We're not going to major in minor decisions. We're not going to waste our time on those. We're going to make them, move on to the ones that truly matter. Okay, tip number 4. We talk about this a lot on this channel, and it's super, super important. Focus only on what you can control. Do not waste any time, effort, or energy focused on things that are completely beyond your control. Most of us obsess about things because we don't have control over them. We've got to learn to stop doing that. A friend of mine used to reread every email he sent multiple times. He'd stress over the tone, worry if a coworker misunderstood a sentence. He was constantly scanning it for ways he might be misinterpreted. Eventually, it wore him out. So he made a decision. I'm going to write it clear, respectfully, and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. By the way, once the email goes, there's no coming back, right? There was the ad at the Super Bowl where the guy hit reply all and he drove around and broke all the computers to make sure nobody could read his email. Like it's that ridiculous that we do those things. If it's out of our control, we're not going to spend time on it. We're going to focus on the things we can control. Our effort, our intention, our follow through, our commitment. We're going to let go of everything else because we don't have control over it. Once you stop doing that, trying to control everyone's reaction, trying to control how people think, trying to control how people feel, you're going to relax. Surprise, people are going to like you more because you're going to be more genuine. So it's what we do is the exact opposite, or delivers the exact opposite result that we're trying to deliver. We want people to like us for who we are. And then we don't act like who we are and don't give them a chance to like us for who we are. We're annoying, we're needy, we're stalkerish, right? We do all those things. That's not the way to do it. Just relax. Be who you are. If people like you, great. If they don't like you, oh well, right? Sawyer Brown wrote a song called Some Girls Do, and it essentially says some girls like guys like me and some girls don't like guys like me, and that's okay. There's plenty of girls that do like guys like me, and I'm going to hang out with them. Real straightforward. So what's our action step here? When we're thinking about things during the day, let's just make 2 lists. One is things I can control. One is things I can't control. When we're feeling overwhelmed or we're feeling that anxiety well up or we're starting to obsess over something, we're going to fill that list out. Put your energy only in the left-hand column, things you can control. If you can't control it, don't waste your time on it. It's that straightforward. We're going to worry about and focus on things we can control, and then we're going to let everything else go. That's it. Real straightforward. Okay, tip number 5. We got to practice mental reframing, because a lot of times we're obsessing because of the story we're telling ourselves internally. And when we change the story, we change how we feel. So let's take an example. We make a small typo in a social media post. I've done it. Hell, I one time published an interview that a friend of mine did with his friend that was a professional athlete, and I used the wrong name for the professional athlete in the interview the whole way. And I published it on the internet. And I had to go back and say, oh, by the way, I screwed this up. Like, it happens. Was it embarrassing? Sure. It was 15 years ago. But yes, like, it sucked. But look, here I am, still alive. Nobody came and shot me. Nobody put me in jail. Nobody banished me from the internet. Like, it's a non-event. So people make mistakes every day. It just shows that you're human. If someone's judging you over that, they're not worth hanging around. They don't care about you, and they're not your audience. They're not the people you want to be with. So let it go. People might give you shit about it. People might make fun of you for it. That's fine. Like, you got thick skin. Nothing wrong with that. I screw up lots of stuff. People screw up lots of stuff, and you've got to have a sense of humor about it. That mindset shift can give you the confidence to interact with more people, to try things you've never tried before, to slough off your mistakes, learn from them so you're not making the same mistakes over and over again. But we're not going to obsess over those and let them control us going forward. So our action step here is to create a reframe journal. We're going to write things down. Anytime we obsess over something, we're going to write down, what is our obsessive thought? What is the fear or the worry that's driving it? And what is a new, rational, empowering version of that thought? For example, if the obsessive thought is, if I don't respond to this text right now, they'll think I'm rude. The fear here is, I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be judged. I don't want people to think badly about me. Reframe that to, I'm going to respond in my own time. Anyone who values me will understand that. It's rare for me to respond to things right away because I want to think about them. I want to think about my response. Many times I want to think through things before I respond. So it's not uncommon for me to take a day or two to respond to some things. And that's okay. Sometimes I never respond. Just because someone calls me or asks me a question or sends me a text or shoots me something on whatever social media platform, I don't owe them a response. If I want to respond, I will, but I want to be thoughtful about how I do it. So you got to learn to be that way and be deliberate about how you're interacting with people. The right people will like you. If people don't like you, that's their prerogative. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone has to like you. And they have every right to not like you. They have every right to think bad things about you. They have every right to say bad things about you. You got to learn to live with it and let it go. It's that simple. Okay, so little recap here of our 5 tools that we gave everybody. Zoom out. 10, 10, 10 rule. Will it matter in 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 years, whatever the time frame is? The answer is almost always going to be no. Number 2, we've got to accept imperfection and move forward when we're 80% good. Remember, perfect is the enemy of good. Perfect is the enemy of done. We're done with that. We're not gonna be perfectionists and procrastinate because of that perfectionism. Number 3, we're gonna limit decision fatigue with batching and timers. Number 4, we're gonna focus only on the things we can control. And number 5, we're gonna learn to reframe our thoughts into something more positive and empowering for our internal self-talk. All right. So we got to remember, letting go of little stuff is not laziness. It doesn't give you license to not try your best, to not try to be your best. It's smart in how you live your life. It's intelligent, learning that life is not perfect. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to live with them and you're going to move forward. You're choosing your mental health and your happiness over your pride. And that's important. You need time to control your thoughts, to control your emotions. That's how it works. And your future over your fixation on the things that in the long run just don't matter. So we've got to learn to let those things go. They just don't matter. Most things just don't matter. Remember, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's almost all small stuff. Newsflash, right? Okay, so our challenge for you today is to let go of one small thing that's been bothering you. Just one. Think about it. Reframe it, learn from it, put it in the box, and move forward. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your anxiety. It's not worth chewing your nails or rocking back and forth in the basement or whatever your coping mechanism is. We're gonna let that stuff go. We're gonna feel that burden come off of us, and we're gonna live a happy and productive life and focus on the things that'll help us live a happier, productive life. Okay, that's the episode for today, guys. James puts it up over here every day. Head over to our website, saltygingertalk.com. All the podcast episodes are there. Links to all the social media accounts are there. We publish a newsletter every weekday that you can subscribe to on our website. And please, please, please like, comment, subscribe, share to the podcast on whatever platform you consume it on. It's super helpful for us if you can do that. So this episode will air on a Tuesday. Hope your week's off to a good start. We appreciate you checking out this episode, and we will see you on the next one.